I recently sold my Subaru Outback, which I bought from a salvage auction and rebuilt. I also just finished rebuilding a Volvo XC70 that I also bought from the same salvage auction at the same time. And I wanted to just film this quick little video to go over how much I spent on them and how much I made on the Outback and how much I think I could probably make on the Volvo. So I'm gonna pull up spreadsheets on my phone to see what I spent on them, and we'll get right into it. So since I sold the Outback already, I'll start with that one. And I'm gonna try and put up a graphic on screen that you're hopefully looking at right now. So the initial cost from the Copart auction after all the fees and taxes and everything was $1,147.40. I had to spend 40 bucks on a friend's gas who towed it home on his trailer. He drives a Porsche Cayenne, does not get great fuel economy, but those things can tow like 8,000 pounds, it's insane. Anyways, then I spent on all the parts. I got a really good deal on this. I spent 50 bucks on 2 fenders, 2 door cards, and a bunch of miscellaneous trim. I then did a form to get the bill of sale for those parts, because apparently you need that on pieces like fenders. And I forgot to cancel the trial of e-form, so that cost me $50. Still not happy about that. I spent 20 bucks on the battery tie down. I spent 80 bucks on the battery. I spent $10 on a notary for that bill of sale. I spent $233 on registration fees, including the inspection fees and all that stuff. That's all paid for at the same time. I spent $27 on the replacement cruise control stock. I spent $13 on the report of sale. So all in, I spent $1,666.31, probably give or take a few. I put some gas in the car, that sort of thing. And I sold it for $2,500 cash in my pocket. And so if you do the math, that means I made roughly $833.69. Considering I was just doing this project to learn how the process worked in case I wanted to take on a larger project in the future, I think that's pretty darn good. All right, moving on to the XC70. My initial cost for this car was $3,063.40. I had to pay, again, $40 for my friend to tow it back home, because I didn't want to get pulled over for having no plates or registration. I spent $18.28 on the fuel door hinge. I spent $27.97 on the cabin air filter. I bought the wrong parking sensor pigtails, which cost me $33.32. I bought the replacement mirror glass, since the previous owner didn't bother putting the right ones of those on. That was $37.26. I got the taillight for free, which was a huge win because it had that little crack in it. I bought the correct parking sensor pigtails for $39.77. I bought the replacement rear wiper for $21.04. The transit permit was $8. I think I forgot that in the Outback's calculation, because I definitely had to pay for that too. Registration, plates, and inspection and all that stuff was $323.93. Then I did an oil change, which cost me $65.33 for the oil and $23.13 for the filter. I then bought wipers for the front, which I bought some nice wipers for $76.21. I then bought a expensive K&N air filter for $81.66. I bought a new gas cap because I left it in the parking lot and ran it over for 15 bucks. Bought a new parking sensor, a single one, for 15 bucks. And I bought 4 new parking sensors for $40. And that's actually all I did to rebuild it. And so after all that, I was at just under $4,000 at $3,929.64. I have spent more money onto the car that you'll see in the future, and I'll go over here in a minute. But I also want to show off this example that sold on Cars and Bids recently, which obviously I think cars go for a little more on Cars and Bids, but this is a really good example of what my car would be worth if it were a clean title. This is a 2005 Volvo XC70 all-wheel drive. It has a few extra features that mine doesn't, such as the extra back seat, the third row rear-facing seat, and a few other things, but mine also has a few features that it doesn't have. So I think it's about even. This one has 113,000 miles, which mine has about 125, so an extra 10,000 miles. This also had a one owner history until 2020, so that does help the sale price. But long story short, it sold for $8,000. Usually you can figure your rebuilt title will sell for about 2/3 of that. So if we do the math there, that's about $5,333. So if I could sell the Volvo for that, let's say I get a good deal on it, it's $5,500, I would make about $1,500, which is roughly twice as much as the Outback, which is about right, though it did cost me 3 times as much. However, as I mentioned earlier, I have since spent more money on it. I don't know when the timing belt was last done, so I bought a timing belt and water pump kit so I can replace that. And there's a tray underneath of it. I'll try and go get some B-roll of that fell off that holds the fuel lines up. Very important that you have that. It's a stupid design. It should be metal. It should bolt on. It's plastic and it snaps on. So it just leaves the chat whenever you scrape on something, as I might have done last weekend. And I also bought an aluminum skid plate. So the timing belt kit was about 200 bucks. The aluminum skid plate was about 200 bucks. And the plastic cover was almost 100. It's ridiculous. But anyways, that all came out to $526.90 after tax and everything. And then I'm also gonna buy new tires for it, some BF Goodrich KO2s. And after all of that stuff, I would be at $5,400, which is about what I think I could sell it for. Especially if I own it for a bit and get some maintenance history on it. You know, people know it's been reliable, that'll help. But yeah, I just wanted to record this quick little video in case anyone sees it and is thinking about doing this themselves. I would highly recommend doing it, especially if you pick up something like the Outback that's cheap and you can not really worry about losing money on it. I think that's a great learning experience. Not to mention, hey, you might be like me and you might make some money. Anyways, that's it for me. If you like this video, maybe consider subscribing. Normally I do other stuff. I do weekly videos where I go over what I've done. You'll see a lot of stuff with the Volvo. If you didn't like this video, maybe leave a comment. Tell me what I could do better. See you on Friday in a regularly scheduled video.